Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Lazy Podcast. This is really exciting. It's the second ever episode. So last time, the first episode, I was recording on the Rode Video Micro, and basically I wasn't very happy of, with how it sounded and all of that. So I went on and picked up the Blue Snowball. There's a video on it as well. There will be a link in the description if you want to check it out. So I wasn't really happy with how it sounded, and I felt like I needed an upgrade on my microphone, especially for the podcast, because it's just a podcast and there's no music, there's no mixing, and we live in a quite a busy street as well, so there is usually a lot of noise. Now I'm recording on the Blue Snowball on my living room, covered in a blanket, and trying to eliminate as much as possible of the noise. I hope it does sound better. Leave a comment down below if you think it sounds better or worse. There's a lot of things happening to the world right now. I hope everyone is safe out there, first of all, and I hope everyone is washing their hands, as you should be doing. So in this episode, I thought we'd do a more structured podcast. In the first half, we will talk about what's happening in the world right now and how, in my opinion, YouTube is coming, victorious on this coronavirus situation and on this lockdown that everyone is, because everything else seems to be closed down, from cinemas to theaters to musical events and anything else. So how YouTube is winning that war, let's say. And the second part, I thought we would do some embarrassing stories, some stupid stories, and trust me, I have a lot of them. I've written a few down, and you can write yours on the comments or send them to me on my Instagram if you want, and we can talk about them on the next episode of the Lazy Podcast. So let's begin. What's YouTube doing right now? Like, I've seen every late night host is doing their version of their show on YouTube, and it looks terrible. From like Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and Stephen Colbert and anyone else you can think of, like James Corden, and their videos look terrible on YouTube, like really bad quality, and you can really see that those people, they're not creators, they're just the hosts. So you can really see what's going on. We had the celebrities singing Imagine. There was Gal Gadot and a few other people. That was cringy, and a lot of people did not react very well to that. And I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to be positive and they were trying to help people. I'm not saying they weren't. I'm not saying they're bad people, they're deliberately. But as a lot of people said, you can't be singing Imagine and acting like you're part of the crew and part of the people who actually have to go out there and go to work, because most of them are locked in their mansions and multi-million-dollar houses, and not a lot of people can do that. Some of us have to go to work, let's say. But the thought process of it, I think it wasn't, evil with evil intent. Gal Gadot, I'm sure she's a lovely person, and I'm sure she was trying to help. It's just the internet reacted really bad to it, and everyone seems to be making reaction videos to it, which I get it. That's what people do, YouTubers. And then the other interesting thing that I saw was John Krasinski. I love John Krasinski. He's amazing, I think. Jim from The Office, for people who don't know his actual name. And on my notes here, I've written down how to do it right, and not like celebrities singing. And that shows how much that guy, he actually understands, and he's not disconnected from actual people, from like everyday people, because they are people too. And he's doing a show where he, on YouTube again, where he only shares good news, because there has been a lot of bad news lately, and there has been a lot of depressing news, and there isn't a lot of good things going on out there. So that is a great and a brilliant idea. And the logo, which was made by his daughters, which is really, really fantastic. And he had Steve Carell as well, because they were celebrating 15 years of since The Office started, which I thought it was a fantastic idea as well. Steve Carell is always amazing. Whatever he does, he's just great. And it was just such a lovely gesture, and such an like easy thing, and people could connect. And it had like, I think in a few hours, like 500,000 views already. So it's like people are sharing it like crazy. I shared it on my own Instagram as well, because I thought it was really interesting. I did not share the Imagine song, but yeah. So I want to tie this to the late night hosts that are trying to do YouTube now. So I have a friend. I'm not gonna say her name because she might not want me to. I think she's very talented. She's a great person, and she wants to start a YouTube channel, but she's not really sure yet. In my opinion, this is a great time to start a YouTube channel, because there is a lot of people watching. There is a lot more people watching right now than there was a month ago or 2 months ago. And there's a lot more people that need content. And as we saw from the late night hosts, those people that are professionals, that they're used to having the best cameras and the best lights and all of that, we can see that they do not know how to do it without help. While creators, that is the difference, and that is how like the content is so valuable right now. And being a creator is so valuable, and doing everything yourself is so valuable, because we can see that those people, like the late night hosts, their videos look crap, like really bad. No lighting, their cameras look shit. Like, I have better cameras and better lighting than them, because they're not creators. They're not part of this shoot, edit, repeat, like like a lot of YouTubers do. And a lot of YouTubers don't have editors or other people to do it for them. So a lot of I always have to do everything myself, which is great, because I am a part of the creative process from start to finish, from thinking the video of the content and shooting it and preparing it and editing it and putting it up, and then have to make the thumbnail and have to share it. So from start to finish, I am the creator. As those guys, they might be really, really famous, and they might have a lot of huge audiences, and they might be multimillionaires, but clearly we can see that their content is not that good. If they don't have their writers, if they don't have their cinematographers, if they don't have their camera operators, if they don't have their editors, you can see how much they're struggling, and that is really, really interesting. So my friend, if you're going to listen to something, I think you have to listen to this, that there is a great need for content out there, and I think you're really talented, and I think you can make some really great content out there, because you are a great person, and all you have to do is just film that on a camera, and people will watch. If people are watching me, like anyone can do it. So I think this is the best time to start doing something, and I think this is the best time to start producing and making videos or a podcast or music or anything that you wanted to do and you weren't sure. I think this is the best time, because there's a lot of eyeballs out there hungry eyeballs that want to see something, because everything else has stopped. There is no cinema, there is no theater, no one's producing content. Netflix has stopped producing. Like, imagine that. So YouTube is like the king right now, and if you can make content and if you can get it out there, I think it's going to be great, and it's going to be a lot of chances for people to grow. And I hope my friend, I hope she does do it, and I hope she does take a chance, because I know it's scary, like putting yourself out there and, you know, your face and to a lot of people, and oh, am I going to get hate comments or any of that? And that is scary. I know that is scary, because that is something that I go through a lot every day as well. But yes, I was watching the late night hosts, and the only ones that I think did it a little bit better than the rest of them is Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon. And because they had their families involved, they had their children involved, and it gave that impression of home look, even though looks wise their videos look terrible, look really, really bad. Like my grandma, I'm sure my grandma can shoot a better video than that, which just it's the whole point. A lot of people can shoot way better videos than them. So yeah, they were involving their families, and he made like looking more homey and more cozy, and because a lot of people are stuck in their houses now, and that's what they want. They want to see something and make them happy, because all you see, like I don't watch TV, but when I talk to my family, for example, all they talk about is, oh, coronavirus, this many people here, this many people there, which can be depressing. And people want to see something to make them happy, because everyday life can make you depressing on its own. So yeah, it's just it was really, really interesting, because I wanted to tie this with my friend that wants to start a YouTube channel, and I really hope she does, because she will be good at it, I think. So moving on to our next segment of the Lazy Podcast is sharing some embarrassing stories. I really, really thought about this, and I wasn't really sure if I should do it, but this is these are funny stories, and these are things that I've done like 10 years ago. I am 25 now, and when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, I used to do these stupid things, and I'm sure everyone has their own embarrassing stories. And if you have your own embarrassing stories, and if you want to share them with me and with us here on the Lazy Podcast, you can do so in the comments, or send me a message on my Instagram at Aurelbajrami, AURELBAJRAMI. Right, shameless plug there. So, embarrassing story number 1 for me. Please be gentle with these, because I was really young, as I said. So, when I was around 18, I think, I had this girlfriend that she was, I think, 1 or 2 years younger than me. And she went on a school trip to an island. I think it was Kefalonia. I'm not really sure. It's been like so many years now. So I decided, because I wanted to spend the night with her, and because we lived in a village and we didn't really go out, and we didn't get a lot of time together apart from going to school. At this point, I think I was still in school. I was on my last year of high school. So this girl went on a school trip for 3 days, I think, on Kefalonia, on the island. And me and my best friend, we still are best friends. I was going to say best friend at the time, but we still are, I think, best friends. We went to that island as well. We rented a room together, and we were going to spend the weekend with them over there. But the funny story is that I had a little moped at the time. So from the village to the main town in Kalamata is about 45 minutes, let's say, more or less, on the car. So this little moped that I had, it was a great moped, like really economical, and I didn't spend a lot of money going around, but it wasn't ideal if you wanted to go on a long distance trip because it's a little moped. So we start early in the morning on a Friday or something. We needed to go to our town, our city, Kalamata, and then get the bus, go to another city, and then get the ferry, go to the island, and then from there get another bus to go to the hotel, which it would have taken us like a whole day. Oh, that was my phone, sorry about that. So we start in the morning, as I said, on the little moped, and about halfway through to Kalamata, the moped stops working. I think we had a bad tire or something like that. So at this point we had already paid all this money, so we were on a time sensitive thing, so we had to be there in Kalamata at a specific time, because otherwise we couldn't make it to the ferry. And the ferry was the most important thing because there was only one per day, or if there wasn't only one per day, I think it was the only one we had paid for. So we could miss this bus. So what we decided is, on this, we get back on the moped, and on a bad tire, we just kept going. Like, imagine this, a small 100cc moped on a bad tire, going like wobbly left to right. Wobbly left to right. And so we get to Kalamata. By this point, the tire was like, it wasn't fixable anymore. So I call another friend who lived in the city at the time if he could go get my moped, and I will just leave him the keys, because we had to leave. We had to take the bus and leave because we wouldn't make it to the ferry. So this other friend comes and gets my moped and tries to fix it, and he takes it to the shop and all of that, because I would be back on Monday, I think, after the weekend, and I needed the moped to get back in our village, because my parents did not know that I was doing this whole trip with my friend to see my girlfriend, to spend the weekend with my girlfriend, basically. So after that, we make it to the bus, and then from the bus we make it to the ferry. All good. We spend the weekend there, fun. We had a great time. And then my girlfriend's at the time parents, they didn't know either that I was going there. Somehow they found out that I was going there. I don't think they were very happy, but they were nice people, like really nice people, and they didn't really say anything. And then on the way back, we missed the ferry, so we had to go and wait. We waited for like 8 hours or something on the port for the next ferry. And then I think after that we missed the bus as well. This is so embarrassing. So we miss the ferry, we get the ferry, we get the next ferry, and then we miss a bus, and then we were waiting for another bus, but I don't think there was a bus for the day. So I called my girlfriend, and her class had rented their own bus going back. So we were lucky that the principal, which was our principal as well, but it was a different class basically. They decided that they would take us with them, because otherwise we would have been stuck there for the day, I think, for the night. And we were only 18 years old. We really didn't have any money to go to a hotel or something, so we had to either stay there or go with them. And of course we went with them because we didn't have a choice. But it was just wow. And then when I went back, luckily my friend had fixed the moped. And I was able to get the moped back to our village. But I think at this point my parents already knew that I had done this crazy weekend, and it was just such a like bizarre thing of what we decided to do. And my friend as well, like shout out to him, he like stuck by my side like the whole time, all because I wanted to spend a weekend with my girlfriend, which fair enough, but I don't know, it's just such a crazy thing. The next embarrassing story that I wanted to tell you about is, again, I must have been around 18 or something. I had another moped. It's not the same one. It's before I got this previous one on the previous story. It was one of the 50cc Gileras. Great moped. It's just not for me. Like you needed to spend a lot of gas on it, or petrol, or I think it was it was petrol. A lot of petrol on it, and being 18, you can really afford to, put petrol on it all the time. So I think I was out on a night out, and I had the moped parked obviously there, and as I said, I was 18. So the petrol situation wasn't great, and at this point I think I lived around 3 to 4 kilometers from the club that we went out. So I get on after the club, like this is like 4 o'clock in the morning or something. After the club, I get on my moped and I'm riding home, and about halfway through, I realized that there is no more petrol left. So I had to push for like at least 3 kilometers. But it was my house was up on the hill, so I had to push up on the hill for like 3 kilometers. And I don't know if you ever tried to push a moped when it's not on, but they are really heavy, so it's not the easiest thing to do. Yeah. So that was another embarrassing thing that I had to do. So I get home about like 2 hours later or something, and at this point it was like 6 in the morning, and then my mom wakes up and she was like, "What are you doing? What are you pushing?" And then I was like, "Yeah, I ran out of petrol." And then she was just like, they were just laughing at me, just embarrassing 18-year-old that I was. I'm still embarrassing. I'm just not 18 anymore. And then, I mean, this is really, really embarrassing, but the next embarrassing thing that I want to tell you is, again, I must have been around, 20 or something. I had just broken up with my girlfriend at the time, and I think I was drunk as well. I was drunk, properly drunk, and me and my friend is the same friend that helped me go to the island on the moped from the previous story. We were working at the same place, the same restaurant at the time, and again, I was really, really drunk, and I was like, gone through a breakup, and I didn't particularly like to working on that restaurant. So this was like 3 in the morning or something. So what I did is, what I thought it was, great, and it would make me feel better if I go to the door of the restaurant and just pee on it. So I go there, and then I just start peeing on the door, and then my friend sees me and he's like, what are you doing? Oh, it's just such an embarrassing story. But it was a horrible place to work, trust me. It's horrible place to work, and horrible people, but still not acceptable from me. Again, I was really young, I was drunk, and I was going through a breakup. And then the next embarrassing story I want to tell you is, this might also get me in trouble, but it's been a few years, so I think I'll be fine. I had, again, the moped from the first story. A lot of stories of the moped now that I realize it. So the moped from the first story, I started riding it when I was like really young, so about 17 or something, or 18. And I did not yet have the license for it. I think I was in the process of getting the license, but I did not have the license yet. So I was riding on our village, and I think, it was my last year of high school, so I did not have the license properly. I remember now. So our high school was in the next village, which was about 15 minutes away, on the moped. So I started riding it in the morning. I think it was the last day of school as well. And I would never expect police to see, around our village, especially that early. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning or something. Greek police, they wouldn't be out. They wouldn't be out that early, or so I thought. So on this main road, connecting these two villages, I see police there. So I knew I didn't have the license, and I knew I was gonna get a huge fine. And I think I was 18 at the time, but I would definitely be in trouble. So they were just like, signing me to stop and, pull over on the side or something. And I think I had my helmet on. So at this point they haven't seen my face. So what I decided is best, which I regretted later, but I think at the time it sounded like a great idea. So I just steered to the left, and then I just start riding. So I did not stop on the police, which on its own is a criminal offense when you're asked by the police to stop and you don't stop on a vehicle. I think on its own is a criminal offense. Again, I was really, really young, and it's been a few years. It's been like 7 or 8 years since then. Yeah, it's been more than that. But I was also smart at this point, which is unlike me. So I knew that if I kept going straight towards the other village, they would catch up on me because they're on a car, and I am on this shitty moped which would not go above 60 kilometers per hour. So what I decided is I go straight, and then there was a turn to the left. So as soon as they're not able to see me, I again turn to the left. There was like a little dirt road. So I again turn to the left. I turn off my moped, and I put it like, on the floor, like, and then I just completely crouch there, and like I'm waiting for them to go past, and then like 5 seconds later I see this like wee 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 wee. So the police were going towards the next village, and if I kept going that way, they would have eventually like they would have caught me because, I was on a shitty moped that wouldn't go above 60 kilometers per hour, and they were in a car. So, and then I went home. I turned the moped on, and then I go straight home. And then I asked my dad if he can take me to school, and I don't think I told my dad at this point because, again, I was scared and I did not have my license properly. I think I was in the process of getting the license. So yeah, I asked my dad to take me to school that day. It was the last day of school. And then a few days go by, and then I would go down to the village to like the restaurant I worked, and like we used to hang out with the people working on the next restaurant next door to the place I worked. And it turns out police was asking around for a grey moped with a guy like a dark helmet, which they could not find. And then because they knew me, these people next door, the restaurant next door, they knew who I was, and they thought it might have been me because I think we used to hang out with them, and they knew that I didn't properly have my license and I shouldn't properly like riding around on the moped. But yeah, they didn't say anything, and I think they just eventually, like, they forgot about it, and like I never got in trouble about it, which is ironic because now I'm just telling this story to a bunch of strangers on the internet. But yeah, it's fine. That was like hilarious because my heart was racing, and then I was just like, I felt like I was in, I don't know, Fast and the Furious or something. It was just crazy. Good thing that I was smart and I didn't go straight to the other village, because otherwise they would have got me, and I would be in real trouble, like maybe jail time or something, because not only I was riding a moped illegally, I was illegally riding a moped that I shouldn't be riding, but I also didn't obey the police when they asked me to stop on the side. Yeah, that would not have been fun. Oh my god, my parents would have gotten involved, and that would not have been fun. Anyway, this is it from me for embarrassing stories, and how YouTube, I think, is winning this game of what's going on the world right now with the coronavirus and all of that. I hope my friend decides to make a YouTube channel, because I think she's really talented and I think she will do great on it. If you have any more embarrassing stories, if you have your own stupid and embarrassing stories from when you were younger, I would love to hear them. I would love to have them, or even have you, if you want to record your own message, and I will play it on the next episode of the Lazy Podcast. I think this is a great and funny topic that we can all talk about. Again, you can leave a comment down below, or you can private message me on Instagram, which you can find my Instagram on the link in the description. Next time, I thought we would talk about our worst jobs, and like the worst. I've had some really, really bad jobs, and I can even tell you some more embarrassing stories and some more embarrassing things that I have done, because again, I have plenty of them. Don't you worry. Again, thank you very much for listening to this second episode of the Lazy Podcast. We are already on the half-hour mark. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this. Like this video, and this episode is also going up on Spotify, so hello to all the new people on Spotify. If I can manage to upload it on Spotify, I hope I can. Again, thank you very much for listening, for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.